Hi and welcome. Today we'll be exploring the 21st century learning tool of Erasmus and how we can incorporate it into the U.S. history classroom in order to engage our students that are digital natives. Common Core requires the use of primary source documents. Applications like Erasmus can help educators bring these documents to life. Our goal for today is to create a game. Our game is called Can You Find a Job? And it deals with the issue of unemployment during the Great Depression. In the 1930s in urban America, students will be exploring primary sources using video, images, narrations, and interactions with their peers in order to engage, explore, explain, extend, and evaluate themselves through the Great Depression. We'll go through an overview of the game, a walkthrough of the game, and an overall reflection during this presentation. Our students are digital natives, and we must use applications like Erasmus and strategies like games in order to engage our students. It'd be a shame not to. So today, first thing we're going to do is go an overview of the actual game, then we'll walk through the game and we'll end up with some reflections. So the purpose of the game is to expose students to several primary source documents, particularly images, that will allow them to see what the upcoming unit on the Great Depression will be. Now each image that you could see that's displayed within the classroom, each image would be displayed within the classroom, preferably more further apart. They all highlight different components and struggles of the Great Depression. Now, the great thing about these images is they're supplemented with an application called Erasmus. What Erasmus allows us to do is to take a cell phone or tablet application, open up the application, and the application will play a video, an image, an audio created by the user. Now right now you can see the star type image is searching. It's searching for something to describe. When I put it on the image,
today would be the day. Turns out they already hired whoever they wanted, and boy,
it plays a video, image, or audio that was recorded by the teacher, and that could actually be recorded by the students themselves. So not only we don't only have a primary source image from the time period, we have a differentiated supplemental source for the students. Now this could be used, this application, in countless ways. It's up to the creativity of the teacher and the students to bring it into the class. But for today's purpose, we're going to walk through a game in which the students will explore all the struggles of the Great Depression through the use of primary sources and compete to try to find a job. One of the major reasons that people struggled in the Great Depression was that they couldn't find a job. We'll hope that the students are able to find a job, and when they do find the job, they will win and explain and reflect and assess themselves and each other on the struggles that were the Great Depression. So now we're going to walk through the actual game. We won't go through the entire game, but hopefully enough to give you a general idea of how to operate the game. So the teacher will start by using an example of their own, by taking their own tablet or smartphone device, going up to an image, and displaying it as an introductory video. This would be displayed on the smartboard And it would give the teacher a chance to make sure the expectations are clear of the game and would review how Erasmus works. The students would have already previously done that. So the students are going to fill out a graphic organizer that's been provided to them. The graphic organizer requires them to come up with their own creative title to the image and also a brief description of the issue involved and how it relates to the Great Depression. This would be gone over by the teacher before the game in order to make sure the expectations are clear. So the students will walk in groups of 2 or 3 depending on the class size and will take part of going into several images. So we'd start off at the beginning with the stock market crash. Everyone would start at number 1 with the stock market crash. The student would open up the Erasmus application. Once again, the start image, and play it over the article.
I just couldn't believe it when I read it. It was unbelievable. Times were so good in the 20s. Everything was going well. Good job, good benefits, lots of money. Billions lost. The stocks crash. What are we going to do? What is our...
So at that point, the students would together come up with a title for the image. Hopefully they would go with something on the headlines of billions losses, stocks crash. I know if I was thinking of something, I might say, all right, dark day for Wall Street, or the beginning of the end, and a brief description. This stock market plummeted, much money was lost. Something basic to just get an idea of one of the components of the Great Depression. Now the students might go on to another one, maybe right next door.
The day where you're at low. I'm happy to even have an ad still because I don't have a home. Bank took it, said it was foreclosed. Now I got the wife and the 2 kids living outside. We scrapped up something together, you know.
And you can see the wife and the 2 kids are in the image. The idea was that they had lost their home, and now they're living in a newer home, and that newer home was scrapped together with some literal garbage. So the students, not only are they looking at the primary source image, but they have the supplemental description of
The day where you're at low.
the teacher.
I'm happy to...
Now, the images don't have to be videos. They could also be a narration, or the images can be images themselves. So as the students are going on, they're filling out the document number 2, a title, downgrade of home, and a description. The family had lost their home and it was taken away by the bank, and now they're forced to live outside. So the students would repeat this, and as they're doing it,
Little girl's too afraid to come outside.
here we have a still image.
Last time they came outside, men in the suits, they took the house away. Here we are now, living in the shanty.
Living in the shanty. So there's multiple opportunities for the teacher to scaffold an important vocabulary word while they play this game. The game is following a victim of the Great Depression and his struggle to try to find employment. They range from newspaper articles to housing to family life to what it was like to live in a new community.
Look at the community. Yep, that's what's left of the community. The Hooverville, a large community of a bunch of people that ain't got no pots to pee in.
So once again, another vocabulary word, Hooverville, being introduced with the definition, which will help the students to come up with the title, a description of the image, all with that motivation of playing a game to try to find a job. The theme that unemployment, high rates of unemployment, were one of the major reasons for this Great Depression. And we go on.
Everywhere you look, you see the kids.
and on.
Man, I don't feel good sending my kids out there. But hey, what am I gonna do? They're not going to school. I'm not going to work. Maybe
Still not going to work.
$100. $100 for that car. I paid 5 times that. But hey,
The stress of people having to sell their possessions like their cars just in order to put food on the table. And waiting in line for those foods and those jobs.
right, yeah, world's highest standard of living. I remember when I was driving in my car. Now I'm on this line, waiting, just waiting for some food, maybe waiting for a job, but just waiting.
As well as the struggles that families experienced.
When I look into her eyes, I feel for Annie. Annie always kept a nice home while I went to work. Can't find a job and looking for a while, and I see in her eyes the pain and the fear and the questioning and the depression. The Great Depression, I see.
The Great Depression. So, as the students explore these somewhat depressing components of the Great Depression, they will eventually find the solution of the game. The solution of the game is to find employment. And our friend does. He finds employment through a program of the New Deal of Franklin Delano Roosevelt through the Wage Progress Association. So he gets that, and the students will win the game, and they'll say, "Mr., Miss, we did it, we did it." And we'll end with a concluding video that will hopefully summarize for the students the experiences that they just went through.
The Great Depression was the deepest and longest lasting economic downturn in the history of the Western industrialized world. In the United States, the Great Depression began soon after the stock market crash of October 1929, which sent Wall Street into a panic and wiped out millions of investors.
So all the documents that we've showed today have full 30 to 45 second clips that go beyond the primary source document. The teacher should at the end make sure that the students had visited all of the documents first. So you might want a strategy for this is maybe to pull it out later once you see students going around. Once you're assessing students, you can see that they're finishing up. You might want to just hang that last one up and really use this last closing trigger image as a way to summarize the lesson. And that is really a walkthrough of the game itself and the use of Aurasma to supplement primary source images in order to create a game for students.